guys, Naomi Findlay here. Okay, so you have worked so hard to get to this point. You have literally picked the perfect property and you are exactly where you want to be. You know exactly what your upgrades are going to be. You know exactly what tinkerings you're going to be doing to that house. You even know who your ideal buyer is, what the suburb is, and exactly what they're after. Amazing. And best of all, you've done all of this without letting anyone else tell you what you want. Great. So have you decided what you're actually going to do once the renovation's done? That's what I'm here to talk to you about today. Today is all about how you're going to manifest your hard-earned profit. So luckily, today's list is also pretty short. There aren't a million options for you to get lost in. There are actually only two primary choices here. But just because there's only two, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't consider each of them carefully. Why? Because remember all this talk before about finding your patch and about your personal strategy, and it's all about what works best for you. Well, it's the same principle here again. It's all about what will work best for you, your situation, and your end goals. So let's jump on in. Now, number one, sell, sell, sell. The first option is to sell. It's pretty obvious. You buy a place, you renovate it, and then you sell it as soon as humanly possible. Simple, right? Well, this is what you're probably thinking when you hear the words house flipping. If you don't flip a pancake in time, it'll burn. Same thing when you're renovating a house. If you leave it in your possession for too long without doing anything to it, those sneaky interest repayments will burn holes in your potential profits. So you sell or you flip. Boom! Profit is realized. Next project, here we come. Selling is great because it does let you see your profits almost immediately. There's no slow release, there's no drip feed involved, and that's pretty handy if you want to jump straight into your next reno. It's also nice to receive that sum in bulk. It's a great way of boosting your motivation after all of that hard work. So apart from the obvious quick release of profits, there are other benefits to selling straight away after a renovation. For one, all of your upgrades, all of your polishes will be absolutely fresh. That new oven will be shiny. Those cupboards and all that sleek, soft close hinges will be working perfectly. And the walls will have a perfect, beautiful finish, not a mark in sight. And then that way, your potential buyers will walk into the place and be like, wow, this is brand new. It is just for us, and it's exactly the reaction you want. The other great thing about selling straight away is that you probably are selling more than likely in the same market that you bought in. Now, this is especially handy if your market is hot, hot, hot. If you have a whole group of potential buyers that are diving over your property, then it is a winner. And for that, that means you'll actually make more profits in the end. But you should also consider the business aspect of this. The more assets you have in a business generally, the more risk that's involved. So getting rid of some of those assets will help reduce the risk and in turn reduce any stress and time of having to look after it all. Selling your renovation project will do exactly that, particularly if you're doing renovations on the side. It will help to not be burnt out by that side of business. So there are plenty of pros, right? Absolutely. But what about the downsides of immediately flipping the house or selling the house? Well, the first one of this is the money involved. Putting the house up for sale, paying agents' fees, then paying your solicitor or your conveyancer, and all of the paperwork costs money, as does giving the government your share in whatever form of personal tax you may have to contribute. The other thing that you have to keep in mind is that the market you're in at the moment isn't maybe a hot potato. Maybe all the buyers aren't fighting over it. Maybe you are better off waiting and seeing if your market moves. Interesting. All right, straight on to the second option now. Number 2, the main second option that you have if you're not looking to sell is actually to lease or rent the property. So if you choose to keep the property, then obviously you would still want to be making money from it, especially now that you've put all of the hard work in to make it so awesome. So the simple solution to that is to lease it or rent it out. And this could be short stays, B&Bs, or a long-term lease. Now, one of the perks of this option is that you get a consistent stream of money coming in. That's a great way of making sure that your own bills are paid for, and you also don't have to pay any agent fees in selling the property. But the biggest perk, absolutely, is that you get to use the equity that you've just created in this amazing renovation to leverage and buy your next project. So although you don't physically see a big lump sum of cash, it's there for you to use on other properties. And this is a great way of avoiding some of those interesting taxes that you might be subjected to if you were to sell. Pretty great, huh? So what's not great about the renting option then? Well, I think the most annoying one would be that nothing stays new forever. Eventually, depending on how long you hold the property, of course, you'll probably, have to give it some more touch-ups. That's just the nature of owning property and having it leased. Those flawless floorboards will eventually get a little bit scratched or faded, and those walls will show signs of day-to-day living, marks, dints, here and there. And that shiny state-of-the-art oven won't be shiny for long. In terms of capital though, nobody can see into the future. So it can be hard to see how long it will take for a property to grow in value if you choose to hold it even further, and when it will be worth selling. So what about rental demand? What if that drops and you have a lower rent? Are you going to have enough serviceability to cover the loan? The other thing to think about, although they aren't a big chunk like an agent selling fee, is unless you manage the property yourself, you're going to have property management fees. And it's a small part of your rental income that will disappear. I'm absolutely not recommending that you self-manage the property unless that's something that you're skilled at. But it is something to consider and weigh up when you're considering these two options. So having all the information now, which option would you choose? Are you going to go for the buy, renovate, sell, the house flip? Or would you prefer to rent the project out for the time being and see what happens? You know what? It all depends on you, your lifestyle, and your version of wealth. So be armed, be informed, and make the decision going forward. Hey renovators, if you're ready to take the next step in your renovation journey, then come learn how to renovate with me in my online renovation masterclass. It's completely free for all of you listeners. So if you want to discover how to renovate properties for profit, head over to naomifindlay.com/renovation masterclass, where I'll show you how the 7 steps to my winning rapid renovation formula create a 6-figure income for me and many of my students. So save your spot today. Remember, it's naomifindlay.com/renovation masterclass. See you soon.